First Alert weather days are now in effect as we're dealing with some moderate to heavy snowfall, mainly to the east of the Illinois River now. In fact, some of us are seeing a little bit of a lull from either the rain or the snow. Nonetheless, some difficult travel conditions across central Illinois here this morning, including for us across the Peoria Metro. We have our First Alert weather tracker out on the roadways here this morning, being driven by our chief photojournalist, Dave Jansen. Good morning, DJ. I know you're out near Sunnyland here this morning along Route 8. Looks like you got a salt truck in front of you there, too. And I got to say, this is probably the best the roads have looked here since you hit the roads this morning.
Yes, you are exactly right, Balint. This is by far the best, and my hero is in front of me, as you can see. So he's clearing the path, so I have a smoother drive. And I'm going to go back to my kid days. I'm probably going to age myself, but the slip and slide that used to be famous way back when, well, that's kind of the theme today. You are slipping and sliding all over the place if you're not paying attention. So, again, it's one of those days you got to drive defensively. You got to be careful. And if you don't have to go out, don't, because there's ice underneath all this snow. And a lot of the roadways are going to be covered. You just have to take your time and be careful.
We appreciate that. Stay safe out there, and we'll continue to have that team coverage here throughout your Friday morning. In terms of those road conditions, a lot of us are dealing with totally or at least mostly covered roadways here across central Illinois. Just mainly along into the south of Route 136. That's faring a little bit better. Note all these areas in pink per IDOT are those roadways where there's a lot of snow on the ground. And yes, we are starting to see a little bit of a lull from any sort of wintry precipitation, especially to the west of the Illinois River. It'll still take some time to play catch up, even as temperatures start trending above freezing and we see a break. Off to our north, some moderate to heavy snowfall still does continue, especially near Livingston County. I just saw a report of snow, upwards of 2.5 to 2 3/4 of an inch near Farmington here this morning. Elsewhere in Alta, about 2 inches of snow so far as of this morning. So some of those snow reports starting to come on in. Off to the south, though, you'll notice a Bloomington normal. It's more so rain or a rain-snow mix in terms of who is starting to see a little bit of clearing. Eureka and, say, Washington now, maybe just 1 or 2 additional flurries flying. Otherwise, the majority of that heavy snow continues to push east. The system has developed a bit of a dry slot here this morning. You see that right over western Illinois. That will help bring a bit of a break from any sort of heavy precipitation. We may still see a few flurries or a few pockets of some light rainfall. However, that'll cut off our precipitation here, I'd say, through the remainder of our morning commute to the mid-morning. And you can see that there on future radar before we start to see some additional rain showers work their way on in by the late morning. This system does feature a lot of similarities to the one we saw on Tuesday, where we'll see some snow melt throughout the day. Take a look here. Temperatures mid to upper 30s. Some of us might actually climb into the 40s here this afternoon for a brief period of time. So that'll help melt off some of the snow that we've seen. And once we do mix in some additional rain showers here this afternoon, we'll see some additional snow melt before we transition right back to snow later on this evening into our Friday night. With this second round of snow, it'll be more of a light, fluffy snow that will blow and drift quite easily, actually, as some strong winds do arrive. This morning, though, it's been a heavy, wet snow, so we'll see a little bit of a variation there with our snowfall types by this afternoon. In terms of the winds, it'll be relatively quiet here through the midday. Then, as that area of low pressure passes, some very strong winds do arrive, gusting upwards of 45 to even 50 miles per hour. If you have some evening driving to do, be very cautious, as blowing and drifting snow is expected, and visibilities will likely be near zero, if not at about 1/4 of a mile or less. So some difficult road conditions this evening as well. Snowfall totals will continue to trend highest off to the north towards I-80. Tapering off the further south you go. Really haven't made any adjustments to this. We'll still look to pick up some additional accumulations here for that second round of snow later on this evening into Saturday morning. So just bear that in mind when it comes to accumulations. It might look a little bit different, again, due to some of that snow melt. Nonetheless, snowfall totals already racking up here this morning. Victoria?